Everyone, I'm Lae. I work in WordPress.com as a happiness engineer, and I'm here today with Andrew for a quick start on blogging webinar. A couple of notes before Andrew gets started on presenting this to you. First of all, at the end, when the webinar ends, you will be directed to a page where you'll have a short survey, which we'd very much appreciate if you'd answer. And you can find a recording of this at the end, well, some hours after, in our YouTube page. And I don't think, please use the Q&A section if you have any questions during the webinar. I'll be behind the scenes answering as many questions as I possibly can. I cannot promise to get to all of them, but if there's some question I will not answer, feel free to contact us at wordpress.com/help. Okay, Andrew, over to you.
All right. So let me take the screen share here. All right. And so my name's Andrew. I'm also a happiness engineer working with WordPress, and I get to help people all week long building their site. Today, we are going to take a look at getting started with blogging, and I'll take you kind of through a high-level tour of all the tools we're going to use for that. So my site I'm playing with today is Life, the Universe, and Everything with Andrew. And we can see I've got a post there already. We can also note that my site's not launched yet. So my site isn't public. I can launch it and take it public at any time with that button. For now, I'm just going to dismiss that. And so I kind of like to have a page with the live site up on one, and then I can work on the site from my dashboard and this other tab. And my theme today, by the way, that we're working with is Red Hill, but we may have time to check out some other theme stuff later. And so if I want to go and start a new post, then what I'm going to do is come over here to this site section, and I'll click on posts. And now I am going to add new post. And so this is just taking us straight into the editor. I'm going to go ahead and add a title to the post. And so today I'm talking about my crazy dogs. And, this is an instance of a personal blog where maybe I'm doing this for fun. If you are doing this for a business or that sort of thing, the more specific you can make your page and post titles, posts especially, the better, just because the search engines will index the titles. And so if you have a place or a very specific recipe or that sort of thing that you're sharing, the more specific you can get there, the better. And so now that I've got a title, I always, if I'm writing a post, I like to just come in and start getting all of my content written out. And you'll just see here that I can click into this section here and instantly start typing. Today, instead of letting you guys watch me type for 30 minutes, I am just pulling in some gibberish text, which will kind of show you the layout. So now I've got this lorem ipsum here. And so it's as if I've written my post, and now we can kind of start getting a little more fancy with it. So I like to start over here at the document settings. I've got some controls here, whether or not I want to stick this to the top of the blog or not, which would leave it there permanently, or until I take this off. And then going down the page, I can look at the permalink. And so the permalink is going to be my blog address, lifeandeverything42.wordpress.com, today's date, and then the post title, My Crazy Dogs. And so that is all fine and good. And now I'm going to take a look at the categories. These can be great to add to help categorize your content. It tells the search engines what it's about. So I am going to say dogs as a category. Whoops. And let's add another new category. We'll say dog ownership. And your categories are kind of your bigger picture, broad topic. And then moving down to tags, these get a little bit more specific. So in this case, I'm going to make a tag. Let's call it animal antics. That sounds fun. Would help if I could spell it. And so I can do the comma and say, oh, I don't know, dog oddities. All right. And so that's given the post a couple categories and tags each. You can use, we recommend at least one, probably not more than 5. And again, these will kind of help with your search results and your Google search rankings and that sort of thing. And moving on down the page, I would like to give this a featured image. And so clicking onto the add featured image, we kind of come into my media library here. And I've got some stuff prepared, so I'm just going to pull an image into it to add it in. And I'm going to insert that into the image. And then kind of the image, incidentally, it's going to show up at the very top of the post. So if I preview it here, we can see that the featured image is coming in below the title I gave it and above the text. So that's one thing the featured image does, but also if you were to say share this post to say Facebook or another online social platform, we encourage the featured image to be used as the thumbnail image on those platforms. And so this would be the little square image that will come through with the post, which will hopefully generate some interest and get people to click through and come to the post. And so then the other thing we can do is add an excerpt. Now, typically something such as Facebook, again, for example, will take about the first 50 to 60 words of a post, and that will be the text that comes through when the URL to the post is shared. But that might leave you mid-sentence or at a hanging point, whereas if we just set and control this, I can copy this text and paste it into my excerpt, and now they will have this specifically to use for when this is shared. All right, and so with that done, we've kind of done all of the background work that we need over here. And so now we can start kind of adding to this text and making it a bit more interesting. And so one way to do that is with headings. So we've got my title, My Crazy Dogs, and then we'll call this an introductory paragraph. And let's say that this next section is about my dog named Gabby. So I've hit enter to get into this new space here. And now hitting this plus icon, I want to use a heading block. And you'll see I can just search for it in the bar here. And under the common blocks, I've got heading. And so I am just going to use my dog's name. And that's coming through as an H2, which is one of the larger size headings. I'm going to change that to be a bit smaller, take it to an H3. And we can see here, I've got a control here. I could align this text to the right or center it. In this case, I'm going to just take it back to the left. And then we'll say those couple paragraphs are perhaps about her. And so now I'm going to add another heading with the other dog's name. And instead of using this plus icon, another way to do the same thing is if I type in a /, we'll see some of the latest blocks that have been used. And so heading is popping up here. So I'm just going to pop that up. And my other dog's name is Thorin. And again, I'm going to just take that heading down to a H3 size. And so that's kind of already giving us some visual breaks in the wall of text. Maybe down here, I can come down here, do a final heading. And I don't know, we'll just call this The Dogs Together. And so now that's kind of helping break up the page, but what we really need to start getting a bit more interesting is some images. So I'm going to come in here and press the down icon here. We're going to add a new block, and I'm going to search for image here. And so again, it's here under the common blocks. And I could upload directly from my computer, or in this case, I'm going to go to the media library. And let's bring in this image. And I'm just going to insert that into the post. And so now I have some controls that are popping up above the image and some furthers that are popping up to the right. So let's go ahead and take the image size from large to medium. So that's going to make it a bit smaller. Let's see how it looks if I round the corners. That's cool. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And so now I've got this tool here to change the alignment. And so I can align left, center, or right. Aligning it to the left is going to allow text to flow around it. And that might be what I come back to. But additionally, I could align it to the right and let the text flow around it that way. Aligning it center, it will take up the whole space. Going to wide width or full width will just make it go broader across the page. I think in this case, we'll align it to the left and let the text come up around it. And let's come down here. And we will add an image for Thorin. Again, I'm going to my media library. Oh, I didn't have one of just him. So let's just pull this one in. That's fine. We've got some sleepy dogs here. I'll insert that. And again, I'm going to take that to kind of be a medium size. And if I click over here, I'm going to line this one to the right. There we go. And I think I want to round this one off again. And let's make it a bit smaller as well with these blue buttons we're dragging and dropping here. You'll also note clicking into the image, we get a spot to write caption here. And we can make our captions bold, we can make them italic, we can add a hyperlink to them, all kinds of fun stuff there. And so for now, under this, the dogs together, let's get a little fun. And this time, instead of just one image, let's do a gallery. And so I can add this gallery block, and let's pull in a few more photos here. And so I've kind of got all of these 3 new ones selected. And so now I'm going to insert those into the page. And so they're kind of coming in as a set of columns. I could make it go to 2 columns if I wanted to, perhaps. Yep. To kind of change the layout that the gallery's coming through in. And I think I kind of like that. And so I could also add further things to the gallery here. I've got a spot for some captions. But at this point, I feel like the post is looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this post. And when I click on publish, we get some controls here to double check. The visibility is going to be public. I could set it to be private or password protected if I wanted it to be. I could set it to publish immediately, which I'm going to do, but I can also schedule it for a future date. One thing I often recommend if you're starting to blog is to maybe launch the site with about 3 to 5 posts already. And then perhaps have 2 or 3 that are scheduled to come out over the next coming week or two. And so then that's buying you, 1 to 2 weeks to be writing your next set of a post or two, so that you're constantly kind of having some content coming out. If I had connected this site to, say, my Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest, then I could automatically use the tools here to share this post to those platforms. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on publish. And so now let's take a look at the live site. So here we are. And if I reload the page, all right, so we've got my site title, and then we're just straight into the posts. And you'll note with this that it's showing the whole post on the home page. And that kind of takes up a lot of space. And what I'd rather do is go like this post has. Well, this only has the image as all it's showing. For this post, I'd like to maybe show the featured image in the first paragraph on the home page. So to make that change, what I'm going to do is come over here to the editor for the post, and I'm going to come in right below the content that I want to be shown on the home page, and I'm going to add a more block. So I'm going to, it's under the layout element section, but I can just click on it right here, and that's adding a read more. And so now I will update the page to update the post with this change. And now when I reload the home page, we can see we just get a continue reading instead of the whole post. And so then if I click on the continue reading, it takes us to the page where we get this full post. We can see how everything is looking. And I'm feeling pretty happy about that. And so we'll get to questions here shortly, but just as an example, let's go back and start a whole new post. So I'm going to jump into a new post here. And in this case, I'm just going to call this funny video. And I'm not worried about this stuff just yet. But to what I want to show you is this site's on the free plan. And so I can't actually host videos on the WordPress account. But that's okay. I can actually pull in videos from YouTube. So if I go to add a block, and over here, I search for YouTube. We get a YouTube embed. And I just need the URL for a video. And in this case, I just pulled one to have prepared to show you in advanced. And so I'm going to type in the URL there. And now when I embed it, And so this is true facts about killer surfing snails. This person's videos are hilarious. I do recommend you check out True Facts. But if I now publish this, then I can now come back over here, go back to my home page, and we can see that it's just pulling the YouTube video directly into my page. Kind of the same thing if I were to click on the funny video here. Again, it's just we've got the video embedded straight into the page. I think that is a really cool feature. So let's open this up to some questions. What do you have for me, Lae?
Hi, thank you so much. We have quite some questions, so we won't probably be able to get to them all. So we have, let's start with the featured images of posts.
Okay.
The question is whether you can upload them in advance or you can use other
Yes.
types of images.
Yeah. So we actually have a lot of options for that. So here, for the funny video post that I just created there at the very end, I have not added anything at all as a featured image. So if I come over here to featured image and I now click on set featured image, so now I've got options. So I could use any of these things that are already on the page to be a featured image for this post. Additionally, I can add new, and so I can, go into my computer files and find an image to use here. Or another option, and something that is really neat, I think, is if we click on this little drop down here, and we go to the Pexels free photos, now we can search through stock images. So let's go for director clapboard. Yeah, perfect. So I just got to one that I wanted right away. I think this is perfect. So I'm going to copy that to my media library. And now I'm going to insert that and use this image as this post's featured image. And so I'll update and save the change. And we can see the featured image showing up here on the page. So we've got pre-generated stock images you can use. You can pull in new images from your computer. If you use Google Photos, we can link your media account to your Google Photos and pull them in that way. All kinds of good stuff there, and it's pretty easy.
Thank you. Let me scan. We have so many good questions today. How do you schedule posts? I'm so sorry. So if you already answered this question and I missed the answer, please let me know. We don't have to
Well,
go
I only touched on it just briefly. So let's go back to this funny video. And so this post is already published, but I should. Let's go to document and let's change the publish date. Let's see if this is going to work. So in this case, I'm going to the publish and I'm clicking on the link here. And so let's say I want it to come out this Friday. Oops, and it keeps on changing for me. And let's make it at 12 p.m. right as hopefully people are getting on their lunch break. And so now I've set that as my publication date, so it should automatically schedule then. And hopefully this is also going to be taking it off the live site. Yep, so now we can see that post is gone and it will automatically come back for us on Friday at noon, my local time. And just since that was doing it through an existing post, let me do just, you can also see now that in my listing of posts, we can see that it's scheduled over here. So we can see what's coming out and when is coming out. But let me add a new post just as a quick example, kind of starting from scratch. Give it a quick title. Let's just give it some text. And so now, when I come over here to the publish, and I've got this publish immediately setting, but I can change that. Let's say I want this one to come out Monday afternoon, right at 12 o'clock. I can now schedule that, and my publish button has changed to schedule. And so I've got it scheduled that way. And again, I can come back to here, and if I go to the scheduled, it will show me that I've got 2 scheduled now and when they're coming out at.
Cool. Could you explain again the read more part? I mean, how you add just a small
Yes.
excerpts?
Yes. So let's come back into here. Or those actually already have it. Don't know what that draft is. So with the funny video, let's come back here. And I'm going to add some content right above this. So insert before, and here's an example paragraph where I talk about my love for the following video. And let's say that this paragraph here is all I want to show on the homepage. So it will, the homepage will show the featured image and the post title and anything that is above the more block I put in. So if I want to keep this example paragraph and lose everything beneath it, I'm clicking on my button here to add a block. And then when I search for the block, I just want to search for more. And it's under layout elements. And so I add the more block there, and we can see it right here. And now I can schedule this. And so it's back to being scheduled. And actually, let's go back to the document and change the publish date. Let's change that to today. At 12:29, which is right now. And so now I can actually just publish this post normally. And so we'll see when I reload the site here that we're getting the post title, we're getting the featured image, and we're getting the example paragraph. And then where I added the more block is a continue reading. And so that everything beneath the read more block will be hidden on the home page and will be there on the post itself, like so.
Perfect. So we're approaching the hour. Could you give just a quick explanation on categories versus tags? Because we're getting quite a couple of questions about it.
Sure.
Just to close the webinar.
Yeah, certainly. So categories and tags, one of their main features is that they help you describe the post so that they may be ranked higher in the search engines if someone were to search for something that maybe is your category. If they searched for, say, dog antics, and that was a category I used, then that should help the post rate higher in the Google search results. And kind of the same thing with tags. They're helping to tell the search engines what this content is about. And categories is kind of your big picture, and tags get more specific. So for instance, a big picture is maybe traveling to the UK, and then my tag might be London as a tag, and then perhaps even London Theatre District as a secondary tag, to just get more specific with those. The other fun thing that we can do with both categories and tags is if we come over to our customizer. So I've got my tools on the left here, and I go to the drop down for design. I click on customize, and I now click on menus. I can now look at my primary menu, and let's make it actually display and the primary location. So right now we can see all I have is a link to the home page on the menu. But if I add an item, I can add a category to this item. So let's add tabletop gaming as a menu item, and let's add dogs as a menu item. And so when I save this change, and I go back to my live site, we can see the menu I've added. And then what these categories do is if I click on the tabletop gaming category in the menu, it's going to pull up a listing of all posts that I've tagged with that category. And then the same thing with the dogs. And again, at this point, there's only one in each category, but if I had 6 posts about dogs, they would all be displaying here. And I think that's a really cool way of organizing content.
It is. Thank you so much for this, Andrew. We're getting tons of comments of people thanking you for this. Before everyone goes away and closes this, I just wanted to know that we're launching a special and the first time workshop. It's a 3-day hands-on intensive workshop that will take you from I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here to I'm a blogger. It's pretty cool. I'm dropping the link here in the chat section of Zoom. Check it out. And if you have questions, as always, feel free to contact us at wordpress.com/help. Once again, if you want to see the recording of this, feel free to check our YouTube page. In some hours, this recording will be there. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Have a good day, good afternoon, or good evening, and bye.